So, this box isn't new releases, but this is the majority of today's update. Assuming I kept up with and looked at all the data correctly, it looked like today there really was almost no new anime releases. So, instead, this is a big pile of catching up on old stuff, and these two things are the new one that I saw. I could be a little off. This is a Puchim Seasons 1 and 2. If I were to guess, Puchi is probably a way to refer to this SD style of art, and Mas would be for master. So the idea is, since this is related to Idol Master, it's a kind of SD form of Idol Masters or something like that. Which is kind of unfortunate because we only had the one release here, and I think there's been a couple series of this, so it doesn't seem like it would get too much of a, I don't know, pickup rate or something. Like, I think even people who are somewhat fans of the series might not pick this up, you know, or whatever, but gosh, this is some annoying plastic. I hate it when it sticks to the DVD. It's sticking on the top and the bottom like that, making it... There's some more plastic right there. Some more static electricity plastic. So this should be season 1, just on one disc. 23 episodes plus 3 OVAs, so nothing complicated there. Especially since they're going to be really short little episodes. But that's to be expected. Let's see, a little damage there, but that's fine. As nice as it is to have DVDs in perfect condition, I don't demand it. As long as the media is watchable, that's good. That's good. So, season 2 is pretty much the same. We've got Director's Cut episodes 1 through 3 plus 3 OVAs. So is this longer? I'm having trouble down here seeing. This one says 140 something minutes. This one says, I think, 109 minutes. So I'm guessing the second season of Puchim is longer episodes. Oh well, and then catching up on Blu-ray. So all of these, of course, I already have on DVD, but this is some suspiciously loose plastic. But this is Halo Legends on Blu-ray. I think there was also a steel Walmart thing. Interesting. It feels like the tab should be there, but it is not. So we've got Halo Legends. I'm just kind of making sure it's actually Blu-ray. It looks like it. Regions. I'm not seeing any regions immediately on the back here, so it's probably reasonable to assume it's Region A. This is a Guyver the Bioboosted Armor, which is a modern reboot, remake, or something of a older series by the same name, I think. I'm trying to remember if that older one was actually out on Blu-ray or DVD. Let's see, I'm not seeing anything here that's saying the regions for these Blu-rays, but I believe, who released this? Yeah, Funimation released this. So this must have been before they set up their modern, yeah, there it says Region A. Their modern packaging. I mean, that's to be expected since these are going to be Blu-rays that are older before I started collecting, so that some of them might be differently spec'd is kind of to be expected. Next up, we've got Trinity Blood. Still not seeing any region data on the back. This is again another old Funimation. Could be 2010, 2011, which isn't that old, but it does still mean it's 5 years ago. And for some of y'all, that might be so far ago that even y'all wouldn't know how to process that it's that far ago. Discs 1 and 2. Looks like a bit more artwork to it than the Guyver one. I mean, I didn't open it up like that for Guyver, but a little booklet and disc 3. Nice, quick and simple. Other than not wanting to go back in the case. Next up, we've got Tears to Tiara, complete collection. This one's region A only. This is English and Japanese dubs. So this is from when they dubbed it, because basically they first released this series subtitled only, DVD only, and then they released it with a dub, complete collection version, and there was a Blu-ray version of that complete collection, and there's a sticker on here. Who does stickers anymore? Oof. And I did say this was region A only, yeah. Oop. So that's the Blu-ray copy of Tears to Tiara. Next up, we've got Gunslinger Girl Il Teatrino. Probably not pronounced right, since I do believe that's probably Italian in some way. This is regions A and B. Some nice artwork. I was going to say it was nice background in the back, but that's actually not background since it does have some main characters in it. Or Major's characters. Next item went for Ghost Hound on Blu-ray, complete collection. Let's see. Obviously we need to take this off. This says Blu-ray new. Just double checking what the sticker said. Sticker. I want to get this in one go if we can. No residues if we can help it. So, region A only, English dub, which is I think to be expected. This one is a 3-disc set, which feels a lot more common with modern day Sentai releases. As you can see, this is an older Sentai release. Interesting. Last but not least, we have Rin, Daughter of Mnemosyne. I think I just pronounced that without really thinking about it. Region A only, English dub, to be expected. Pretty simple, straightforward release. So that's this week's anime DVD collection update. Not a lot this week. A lot of old stuff to catch up on, which is nice. So I didn't watch a lot of anime this week, but I did watch some. So first of all, I watched the 4 OVAs on the World God Only Knows OVA collection. I think it's appropriate to call it a collection because they're essentially, while there's 4 OVAs, there's 3 distinct sections, I guess. And the 2 episode one is obviously the really important one. That's the one that would have been nice to have watched between seasons 2 and 3. But like I said, as I started season 3, I didn't mind too much simply because it wasn't just the contents of this OVA that I was missing. There was also additional material from the manga, I guess. Other conquests. And it's, I guess even that aside, this still would have been nice. There would have been some interesting hints for things to happen in the 3rd season, and understanding what those are. Well. Anyways, it was nice to go back to it. As for now, I'm wondering if there's going to be any more World God Only Knows stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the manga's doing, what the anime's doing. It's, I don't know. If there is, nice. If there's not, I can always rewatch the series. And like I said, I didn't watch a whole lot of anime. The other thing was Certain Magical Index, the movie. That's kind of related to the piles back here changing, you might notice, because I've been going through them. My anime DVD server has had plenty of room for my DVD acquisitions, all the ones back here, for a long time. In fact, I'm not even done filling up the one disc that was the one I was filling up before I did my last disc upgrades. But basically it means I'm catching up on that, and that meant that I went through this, put this one on the DVD server, put it on my streaming server, and watched the Blu-ray. Mostly because that's kind of the order of things. If I ever want to go and revisit it, I go to the streaming server. If I go over to a friend's house and I want to show them, hey, yeah, here's this Certain Magical Index movie, then I can show them that. And it's an okay movie. It didn't wow me. I think part of it is it's definitely a magical index movie as opposed to a scientific railgun. But it kind of talks about when magic and science cross. I think that might even be yeah, here on the back it says magic and science are about to collide. And it kind of did. That was the premise. It was actually a very interesting premise in that regard. But I guess revisiting the universe, I couldn't help but miss Railgun and wanting more Railgun action. I mean, she was there, she did some stuff, but a lot of that stuff felt more cameo-y. And that's why I said it makes sense to call it a Magical Index movie, because that's pretty much her purpose in a lot of Magical Index outside of that one story arc. But I don't know. It did kind of feel like maybe the cameoing did detract from it a little bit, maybe. Like, it kind of felt distracted, kind of. Like, I don't know. This could have also just been my state of mind. Like, narratively speaking, it didn't feel like a compelling story so much as it would have been a nice story arc in the series, possibly. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, as you know, because if you're a fan of the series and kind of the stuff that unfolds and whatnot, then yeah, it was nice. I'm just thinking of scenes in there where we probably wouldn't have gotten some of those scenes if it was proper magical index and not this science magic colliding thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Whether or not it's completely successful in that regard, I can't say. It's not going to be my favorite content from the a certain magical and scientific universe, but it was still good. Other than that, like I said, I've been ripping a lot of my anime DVDs and putting them onto my DVD servers so that I can finally put these DVDs away. And I can't shelve them, of course. I have to put them in boxes, the ones that don't have Blu-rays in them, just because that's the setup I currently have right now. I'm out of space, kind of. There's no space on the shelves except for a little growing room down there, but I could probably fill that little shelf space up 10 times over and still need more space. So anyways, that means projects has been going on. That's why Star Trek The Next Generation has been really good, because I only have to pay attention to a lot of that stuff. I think last week I was talking about needing to press forward to get to the Borg episode, unless I already did that longer ago and I'm just not remembering. But I'm definitely past it. In fact, I think I just finished the second season, and I'm maybe going to try and switch to some sort of anime, but I'm not quite sure what yet. I have a little time tonight to figure that out before it has to happen. But you know, that's kind of complicated. You got a big project going on, and sometimes you just don't have enough time to think about everything. I mean, maybe a really good choice would be Tokyo Ravens, just because that's been going really slow, as in I didn't watch any episodes this past week. But I think it's okay for that one to go slow, because the second half of it doesn't come out until next month. I do believe I pre-ordered it. And for other things next month, okay, so obviously the first season of Free, you know, that anime about swimming or something, that did come out I think the end of last month. And it's a valid question why I didn't have it, and that has to do with, well, it's kind of closely related to why I shop from Amazon in the first place, because Amazon, you order a bunch of stuff, they'll just ship stuff as it comes ready. And that's nice, simple, and convenient, and that's really good for somebody like me who just pre-orders everything that comes out in a week in one go. Otherwise, in order to keep it completely flexible, you'd have to order everything separately. And so when I shop at Right Stuff, I kind of go for middle ground. So, for example, Sword Art Online 2 Part 1 comes out next month, and I ordered the limited edition Blu-ray version and the DVD version. For that one, I was okay with taking those and grouping them together. If the Blu-ray gets delayed, then that's okay, because then the Blu-ray and the DVD will come together. And most likely, they'll both ship at the same time, because it's not only the same manufacturer releasing them, but it's the same exact content. And so that's kind of an overview of what I try and do with Right Stuff. So individual NIS releases will get individual purchases, Pony Canyon, Aniplex. That tends to be the case, unless there's a little grouping that makes sense here. And that's what happened with Free, was at the time I pre-ordered it, it was going to be released April 28th, alongside Lupin the Third Castle of Cagliostro Blu-ray release. And so I pre-ordered those together, since I think it was Discotech releasing both of them. And then the Castle of Cagliostro got pushed out to next month, I think. Now, Right Stuff has decided to go ahead and ship Free Season 1 independently. I'm wondering if they're maybe trying to piggyback on something else. No, wait, they're not, because otherwise they would have said something else shipped. So, okay, they shipped Free independently, so that should hopefully be here next week. Otherwise, pre-ordered stuff. What's coming that's kind of interesting? I already mentioned Sword Art Online 2. Not that I'm particularly excited about it, because Sword Art Online Season 1 I thought was great. Season 2, the Alfheim arc, was weird. I think somebody described it to me that way, and that apparently is the way I'm describing it. So, I'm not going into Sword Art Online 2 expecting it to be as enjoyable as I found the first season, but it may still be enjoyable in a different way, and I don't know. I'm going to find out. This does mean I should prioritize watching Sword Art Online Extra Edition, just because that's a recap episode with a little bit of extra content in it. That's a bridge between the two of them, so the timing's probably about right for that. Otherwise, let's see, what other things? I know we're getting Spirited Away on Blu-ray, and that's awesome. The only other thing that really jumped out at me was Turn a Gundam, which is nice to get, because that's one of those Gundams that people have described as weird, I suppose. Different. It's apparently got a certain kind of character to it, and I'm wondering if maybe those people even said that they didn't expect a DVD release for it. Well, people don't seem to be mopping up a lot of that stuff. I think there was even another series that is coming out soon that harkens back to my downloading days, which is finally getting released, but I can't remember what that was. To be fair, I was doing a lot of this pre-ordering of stuff kind of late at night, later than it should have been. Oh well, that's just the way it works. So it was a fun week. I mean, ripping DVDs is always good, especially since, you know, most of it is stuff I've already seen. So I put it on my DVD server, and then I put it on my streaming server, and then that gives me an excuse to kind of go there and poke around and watch some of that new stuff. And then it's like, oh yeah, this inspires me to kind of poke around some of this old stuff. Some of them are weird mixes, like Yakitate Japan. I now found out that since I put parts 1 and 2 on there, I figured out that the episodes on there are distributed to exactly match the arcs described on Wikipedia, and that I had finished the first arc and had probably watched 1 or 2 episodes of the second arc. So that's how far I watched it last time. Now I'm going to completely watch it from scratch whenever I do watch it, and I do have to say that it was really tempting to start, but I don't know, there's lots of options. I mean, if I want something that's just simple, stupid, and I don't have to pay too much attention to it, it seems like Freezing Season 2 is good. I don't even know what Defrag is about, but that's sitting there on the top of the pile over there, and I could watch that. There's another season of Familiar of Zero, and I do believe Season 4 is coming out next month, so Devil Survivor has some very interesting artwork. Not necessarily artwork, it's I don't know. It reminds me of Yunogasai, some of the artwork. So it's got a very yandere sort of overtone to some of it. So it's all complicated, and y'all don't need to be bothered, or y'all don't need to be bothered too much by it, especially since I'm in between seasons in Star Trek The Next Generation, so it's the perfect time to start up some anime. So that's definitely going to be the focus. Anyways, I've definitely been battling quite a bit. Maybe it's a good battle, but I'm going to end it here so that y'all can have a nice week.